Totally amazing. I'm not even sure where recovery comes in. I walk around with this ridiculous grin on my face ever since the final whistle last night. It's just phenomenal.
And record-breaking as well. You know, this is the first time that England have managed to win a major tournament since 1966. And it is also the most attended football tournament final of the Euros that we've ever seen.
Yes, and you know what? I expected the latter to be the case because it's growing. Women's football is growing so rapidly that people are taking far more interest in it. And you know, I keep saying this to people, in 1966, when the men last won a major tournament, women were banned from playing football. And I was explaining this to my daughter this morning, that it was only as recent as 1974 when a volunteer group set up the Women's Football Association. And only 1994 when the FA took it over. So that is phenomenal strides in that short space of time.
Yeah, really incredible. And also, I think the 10 years ago, only 1.4 million people watched the Euros final when it was on. And yet it was, a peak of 17 million last night. Why do you think it has changed so much? What has happened in particularly the last decade or so, where support has grown to pretty incredible levels?
It is. And, you know, it is down to the investment by the FA for sure. And the drive by really key people at the FA, Baroness Sue Campbell, Kelly Simmons. But let's not forget how Hope Powell put this whole process in place for the 15 years that she was at Wembley as head of women's football. But I do think also the Women's Super League has made a huge difference because it's professionalised the women's game. And that's what we're now seeing is the outcome of that professionalisation, where the girls, you know, in the Women's Super League are now professional players rather than doing a main job and football being just their hobby they're doing on the side.
And we all hope, of course, this is going to inspire millions of girls across the UK who may well now take up football. But there is still a long way to go, isn't there? And it's not just in football, in other sports as well. But there is talk about potentially England bidding to host the Women's World Cup in the future too.
You see, that would be super. I do believe this has been a catalyst now, particularly in this country, for other sports national governing bodies just to take a look and see how they can start promoting their women's sport better in those very male-dominated sports. This shows it can be done, and it can show the rewards you can reap if you do it well.
And just very finally, what role, though, do schools have to play in this? Because, again, I was hearing today that I think it's a third, maybe going up to, or maybe around 40% of schools don't have women's or girls' football at school. Again, you know, there is a need for change, isn't there? Do you think that will come now?
I do. And, you know, I think there's two parts to that in the way of an answer. One is primary schools. There's a high percentage of teachers in primary schools are women. And many of them have not been trained to teach football in any shape or form. And they're sometimes afraid to attack it. And actually, it's very, very easy just to give it a go. And I think also then we come to the secondary schools where they need to put this on the curriculum, that it's not hockey for girls and football for boys. It can be hockey for both, football for both. And we need to start breaking down those barriers of what the curriculum thinks is suitable for different genders.